iScrappers, Tom from the iScrap app. Today is Wednesday, December 9th, 2020. We can't believe that not only 11 months have gone by, but we're almost a third of the way through the month of December and almost on our way to 2021. Normally what we've seen in the past are low scrap prices in the month of December, but this month is completely different, as is this year, from many others that we've seen in the past. We'll talk about some of the prices that we've seen, news that we want to talk about, but don't forget, every Wednesday afternoon at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, we try to do our live updates. So if you are watching us live, feel free to ask questions, post comments. You can even wave and just give us a hello. We'd love to see that as well. If you're watching this afterwards, you were probably working when we did it live, so we don't blame you, and we're not angry that you missed it, so just post your comments below, and we'll make sure to get you some answers relatively quickly. What we've been seeing recently is strength. If you have downloaded the iScrap app for your iPhones or your Droids, you'll be getting push notifications sent to you letting you know about different market analyses that we've seen, market price increases, decreases, so you can always check those out. We push them out there for free. If you're really aggressive and interested about scrap, you can become a Patreon supporter where you'll get a lot of those updates a day or two earlier than some others will, but we're still here pushing out more information about the scrap prices as quickly as we can. Now, in the last week, one of the nicest things that we've seen, we must be on Santa's nice list, is the markets have been relatively unchanged. While we have woken up a few mornings to see the market for copper down 2 or 3 cents, we've seen it kind of uptick, maybe down a penny or two, like today it's up 1 penny, but with 7-year highs right now, everyone asks us, when's the best time for us to sell our scrap? Now. The answer is now. Don't ask me if it should be in January or February. Now. Just sell it. You know, greed is one of those things where you always look back and you say, I wish I had done that. But when you sell at market prices when they're so high, you'll never be upset with those market rates. It gives you the ability to make more money. It gives you the ability to cash in if you've been saving all year. Don't forget, we saw the copper market back in March trading around $2.10 a pound. With the market trading $3.50 a pound today, those copper prices have shot up well over $1 a pound at the scrapyard. And on the scrapyard side, some of the spreads have widened, which haven't completely corresponded with the price increases that we've seen online, but we're still watching those. We're watching reported prices. Our yard here in New Jersey paying $3.10 a pound for Bear Bright. We see other reported prices for Bear Bright, $2.80, $2.65. A couple are lower in the $2.20 and $2.40 range, but that's what happens when you live in different parts of the country. We read an article recently talking about the transportation costs, and with fuel starting to go up slightly, with the stay-at-home order in place for many parts, if not most of the country, and more people shopping from home, what we have found is that trucking and transportation rates have increased 30 to 40% year over year. For instance, $2,500 rate a year ago shipping from California to the Midwest has now gone to $4,500. So we've seen an increase there of 80% over the original cost. That's a real big jump. So that increase in transportation costs will get pushed to the scrap yards if they're selling their material to different mills, exporting it, loading overseas containers, going to different ports. So those costs will be pushed on. That's why things don't always correspond tit for tat, but there are different levels for different levels of pricing. Now let's switch gears and talk about aluminum. The aluminum market has continued to shine with more people talking about electric vehicles, aluminum bodies, and more aluminum being put into the rehabilitation of the United States infrastructure. They're talking about bridges, tunnels, conduits for new electrical wires for charging stations over the next 15 to 20 years. So this renewed optimism for some of the infrastructure throughout the United States is going to really push some of these prices. Now, we've heard about the Chinese trade agreement and some of the tariffs that are in place not being taken off initially when the incoming president starts in January. So we're going to be interested for the first half of 2021 to see how these tariffs affect the scrap prices. Oil affects the scrap prices, as many have talked about moving away from oil and gas more towards solar and electric powered. But one thing that they don't talk about is where some of the power comes from. Yes, wind power, of course, wind, and you have all the windmills out there, and solar, of course, from the sun. But you still need natural gas. You still need, these different power plants to be able to build the electricity to make sure that if there is a backup needed, because it's going to take a long time for that basic infrastructure to be put into place, that it is built in advance, and you need those backup systems, which is what we see today, and that's where 80 to 90% of the energy is produced from those different avenues. Now let's talk about the iron market. Of course, steel prices have been up in the month of December and in the end of November. Going into January, they're talking about a mixed market, kind of flat, but that's okay considering we've seen $30 to $40 per ton of an uptick over the last month and a half. Going into December, traditionally it's a time where traders take profit off the tables, larger scrap yards are liquidating inventory, mills and overseas buyers get inundated with excess material, and people trying to clear their warehouses out, getting ready for the next year. This year's been different, with those copper prices aggressively climbing over the last month and a half, and really few months since that March bottoming out. We've seen more scrap yards pushing material out there, but the demand has not been quenched yet. So that market demand is still there, both overseas and domestically. I read an article about the Chinese production of an item such as PPE, and where so many people have become reliant on the Chinese for a lot of these things. They've had a manufacturing boom over the last 3 to 4 months, where they've had an uptick in technology sales, PPE, and other devices and equipment that have metal going into them. So a lot of these different things that we've seen have been really, really strong. Now the gold prices recently have been a little below $2,000 per ounce, hovering around $1,800. And gold has traditionally been that safe haven when people don't know what's going on with the markets. So we're looking at it very closely as it affects a lot of the electronic scrap. It looks like we have a question.
Bill asks, he has 800 tons of car bodies in central Wisconsin.
Great.
What can I expect per ton?
Bill, that's a crazy amount of scrap. You must be a large producer of scrap right now, and if you're holding 800 tons, well, good for you. Depending on where you sell it to, we know a couple of people in that area that have large shredding operations, which is where you'll get your best bang for your buck. To give you a price through a podcast and a stream that's generally meant for scrappers is a little tough, because you're going to be looking at rates much higher than what people would be selling for at scrap yards, which is where we'd like to lead you. So we're going to shoot you a price when we finish this to give you an expectation of some of the market prices that we've seen recently, and just to give you an idea of what we've seen selling to different scrap yards, and going from there for some of the larger processors. Now, car bodies, light iron, we've seen those reported prices $80 up to $140 per ton recently. Strong markets. People are looking to bring the material in, but one thing that we have seen is a lot of those catalytic converters have been getting cut out of the cars before getting scrapped at some of the larger scrap yards. Why? Well, the team at rrcats.com is buying them, of course. So whether it's rrcats.com or another core buyer across the United States, we've seen such strong market prices for catalytic converters. Now, we wrote in our weekly report, which you'll see today posted, the prices have been stable. What do we like about stability? Stability means that we can know what we're going to sell at. It makes it easier for rrcats.com and other core buyers to be able to buy more confidently, push higher prices out there, where we've seen rhodium prices over $15,500 an ounce, platinum prices pushing over $1,000 an ounce, palladium prices $2,200 to $2,300 $300 per ounce. While you might look at these three large prices and say, well, I don't have 3 ounces of rhodium or palladium or platinum. No, but those all go into these catalytic converters, which will help drive those prices up and give you better bang for your buck. The team at rrcats.com not only quotes based off a serial number, but off of pictures as well. So if you go to rrcats.com, you'll be able to see basic price lists. You'll be able to see ranges over the last 30 days, blogs and videos about catalytic converters, and it just gives you a better ability to learn about the different market prices. Now, aluminum, strong. Copper, very strong. Steel, strong. Platinum, palladium, rhodium, and catalytic converters, strong. So that leaves lead. Now, soft lead prices have been very stable, but the car batteries and truck batteries, that market has gone down recently. We saw a big 5 to 7 cent drop off in October and into November, but recently we've started to see some of the car battery prices ticking up into the low 20s into mid 20 price per pound range. Now, these markets haven't been really hot recently, as there was a massive oversupply of these car and truck batteries, as well as steel case batteries, backup batteries, and really any lead acid based battery from battery backups. So the lead market has been strong. The car battery market is ticking up a little bit. Stainless steel and the nickel market is up slightly, but not in the way that we would want. But we're not surprised by that, considering the aerospace technology industry is not really humming right now, considering planes aren't being made. While they're starting to produce those consumer aircrafts to go into space, they are not a super hot item right now. Now, scrappers, we like to do our reports every Wednesday at 1 p.m. We love your comments, we love your feedback, and more importantly, we love your different stories and the prices that you post online about your different scrap. We look forward to meeting with you every week. Next week we'll have our report, and then for the rest of the year, we might have a couple of pre-recorded messages as the holidays will be upon us. We appreciate your feedback. We love hearing from you. This is Tom from the iScrap app. Today is Wednesday, December 9th, 2020. Please report your prices every time you go to your scrapyard. It helps you and other scrappers learn about the different markets. Until next week, happy holidays, stay healthy, and I'll scrap you later.